I would like to invite Kash Patel back into the comm box. Subin going for a bit of a break. Kash, welcome.
Thank you, Sharon. Good to have you back today commentating as well. I really enjoyed commentating with you on the Singapore versus Malaysia match. Very knowledgeable about the game, just like Zubin. It's Timothy taking strike to face Bohara, who went for 14 in the first over.
Rohan's gone for a lap sweep here. A wide ball down the leg side. So Abhinash has changed ends. He was, when I say he's changed side, in fact. He was bowling around the wicket. Now he's come over. Good intent from Rohan to try and get the ball over short fine. Tight single, but he's got back. So Kash, 97 for 1 after 10.1. 98 for 1, beg your pardon, after 10.1. Singapore will be very happy with that.
Yes, they would take that any day. And it's also just nice to see these two youngsters batting with such intent, with such positivity, especially Rohan, who's a local homegrown talent I was mentioning the other day. He's first played for Singapore when he's 15. Really happy to see him playing well today.
Great shot by Tim, straight to Paris at covers. I was mentioning to Zubin, usually at a time when Nepal usually needs a wicket, Paris, till up until the recent past, used to be bowling either his medium paces or off spinners. Nepal certainly will be missing his services from a bowling standpoint.
Oh, almost took Rohan out there. Young Tim that was smashed down the ground.
And that's not the first time Tim's done that. So Rohan's probably going to watch himself. It happened 2 overs ago as well. But that's what happens when you're absolutely creaming the ball to all parts of the ground. That incident reminded me of once where Inzamam hit the ball back to Moranan to Hayward back in Sharjah. That's a fantastic shot, but he's caught at short fine leg. Didn't get the connection that he was wanting, and the fielder was good to get around to snap up a really smart catch.
Yeah, and missing out on a well-deserved 50, really, but very well played by this young man, especially after that early loss of Surinder. I'm sure he's not happy with himself getting out.
Knowing Rohan, he'll probably be kicking himself. But this is the break that Nepal wanted. Nepal will be really happy to see the back of Rohan. This is an opportunity for Nepal to get some inroads into the Singapore batting lineup. Saying that we've got Manpreet Singh coming to bat, who looked really good last innings, and certainly a fluent stroke maker as well.
Yes, a very, very classy batsman. Manpreet Singh again brings a lot of positivity to the crease. Very busy young cricketer, always looking to rotate strike, which if they play well or they played well for themselves, will work well for Singapore too. With Timothy at the other end, still looking to hit that ball hard and try to score those boundaries, and Manpreet can work his way in.
Absolutely. Manpreet's got a higher score of 155 in the Premier Division in Singapore. Certainly one of the key batsmen within the Singapore batting lineup. That was a massive wicket for Nepal. Rohan was playing really good cricket up until that point, and when he went a bit extravagant, it led to his downfall. But And that's the way T20 goes, Cash.
Oh yes, and at only 1 wicket down, one would then say, you do have that luxury of wanting to manufacture those shots to get the extra boundaries.
Good ball by Abhinash to start off. A nice tidy Yorker. Manpreet just bunts it down to long on for a single.
100 is up for Singapore at the end of the 11th over.
100 up in
Exactly 11.
10.5 overs. Singapore will be elated with the start. It's really important for them to carry this momentum for the next 10 overs. Abhinash coming round the wicket to Tim.
Hit down to long on for a single. He had to hurry down in the end. There's a bit of a ricochet off the stumps, and Manpreet was very keen to steal another single. Timothy was not interested.
That's how how hard he hit the ball, Cash. From the boundary, Deepak Ari has hit the stumps down on the full. Brilliant throw.
Very good throw indeed. 11 gone, 101 for 2. Sharon, what would be your target score from here?
Singapore should surely target a score between 210, 220 with the start they've got and the firepower that they have coming in as well. But it's important to carry the same momentum.
And what will be the minimum you would want? I was asking you the other day as well, but on this pitch today, I was told by Zubin this is only the second time it's been used. The first time as well was a high score in the Kuwait Qatar game. So what will be the bare minimum you would need?
A change in the bowling. We've got Sarad Wesokar coming to bowl. Probably along with Paris, one of the stalwarts of Nepal cricket. Played, if I'm not mistaken, was born in the Middle East and moved back to Nepal, and since then has been an excellent servant to Nepal cricket, bowling his off spinners here. Coming back to your question around the minimum score, Zubin, Cash, this looks like a 190 wicket. But saying that, this wicket is going to open up and certainly going to play a role for the Singapore spinners. But this certainly looks like a 180, 190 wicket at a minimum.
Yeah, and sitting at 1 or 2 for 2, you would one would expect Singapore to score at least that, provided they keep that same approach of wanting to rotating the strike and then hit those boundaries in between. To me, that dismissal of Surendran, and Zubin rightly pointed it out, that was to do with the nerves side of it too. When he hit those two back-to-back boundaries, he didn't need to go for that third shot. So as long as they don't commit any of those mistakes in the rest of the innings, I think 180, 190 should be definitely on the cards.
That's exceptionally well played by Tim Davis. Full toss from Sarad. Hit between deep mid wicket and long on.
Cut the two fielders.
Absolutely split the fielders in half. Really well placed by Tim. Suddenly going really well for Singapore. 44 of 27. Really looking on song. Tim just rocking back and pushing the ball to deep mid wicket for a single.
Yes, you would definitely want Tim to go on from here. That
Singapore would certainly want him to stay right to the very end. Hopefully getting a good 80, 90 odd. But he's the sort of batsman that can really... Oh, great shot by Manpreet to backward point for a single. He's the sort of batsman that can absolutely change gear. Like just the other day, he was there for a short stay, like you mentioned previously, Cash. But the kind of cricket he played, you can already see that he's someone who can score really quick runs. And 45 of 28 has come relatively easily to him in terms of just nudging the ball around and playing conventional cricket. But if he goes big, he can probably accelerate even that current strike rate.
Oh yes, and as we've already seen as well, he can hit the ball hard. I saw him in the nets the other day. One of the players was giving him throwdowns, and the power that he had in his drives in the nets. At one point, I thought I hope the guy giving him throwdowns should go and wear a helmet, because if there's one which would have, slight mishit or something, the ball was just rocketing into the nets.
Sandeep Lamichhane has come into the attack, and top edge from Manpreet that goes over Paris at covers. So Sandeep Lamichhane coming back from the
Balestier Road end.
Balestier Road end. He started off at the Balestier Road end, bowled his next over from the Serangoon Road end, and he's back to the Balestier Road end.
Rangoon Road.
Rangoon Road's the other side.
Yes.
Apologies, folks. Tim's absolutely monstered that over long gone for a massive six. That's six in any ground.
Oh yes, definitely, and it's gone out of the ground. And there's lots of spectators here today at the ground, folks. As you can see, the scenery, a lot of Nepali supporters in. The Singaporean contingent watching from the pavilion side, just being shown on your screens now. And they are absolutely ecstatic. They've been making a lot of noise as Tim is now on 51 of just 29.
Great 50 for Tim.
Well earned. Now he plays it to square leg for another single. Smart, intelligent cricket by both these cricketers, Manpreet, my apologies folks. Early days at the crease for him, but he's rotating the strike and handing over to Tim. Again, just nudged behind square, the keeper runs around. One more single. As Zubin was mentioning earlier, even if they keep to look to score at least just one boundary and over and pull in another 3 or 4 singles, that should easily pull them through for that 180, 190 score.
Another googly by Sandeep, and it's really well played by Tim for a 4.
Smartly ran it down the ground.
Cash, usually teams within T20 or 50 over cricket tend to target the weakest bowler in the opposition for runs. This approach from Singapore to target Lamichhane has worked out really well for them so far.
Oh yes, Lamichhane definitely seems to be reeling a little bit from this approach.
That was the first flighted ball by Sandeep, and he got a bit of purchase from the wicket. That probably sends a message as well, to flight the ball just a tad bit and get as much revolutions on the ball.
Oh yes, I mean, and if you want to get wickets, you have to do that. You have to look to do that, toss the ball up, slow it down a bit. Like you said, get those revolutions going on the ball. That's what's going to get the batsman tempted and also possibly make mistakes as well. If you're going to keep bowling flat and quicker, going to be very hard to contain and as well as to get wickets.
$122 for 2 after 13. Folks, if you've just joined us after the first ball, Cash and I will give you a quick rundown of the proceedings up until now.
As Sarat continues from the Rangoon Road end.
Well played to long off for a single by Manpreet. Singapore winning the toss, elected to bat, opening up with Surinder Chandramohan and Rohan Rangarajan. Surinder Chandramohan, after a couple of boundaries, skied one to point. Rohan and Timothy taking Singapore back on track.
Oh, he has absolutely smoked that one behind square for a 6.
The number of balls we've lost this tournament, Cash, has been unreal.
Indeed, it has. And if there's any kids who are watching at home, you want to come down after the tournament finishes today for a little treasure hunt with your parents around the park outside of the grounds, you're sure to find a few souvenirs for yourself.
And those staying in the vicinity, don't be surprised if one actually enters your doorstep.
Yes. The way Timothy is hitting them.
So yes, just to continue, so Rohan got a really well made 49, really took to the bowlers, had some absolutely towering sixes as part of his innings. He perished trying to play the lap sweep, getting caught at short fine leg of the bowling of Abhinash Bohara. Since then, Manpreet and Tim have been nudging the ball around and hitting the, I would like to say occasional, but it's actually not that occasional. It's been probably a big one every single over, Cash.
Yes, and again, any kids watching at home, this is the approach you should bring, especially into T20. The least number of dot balls, and if you can look to hit a boundary every over, you've got yourselves in a good position. You have to look to take on the bowlers.
Manpreet missing that one outside off stump. That was his bread butter shot, which is the inside out short over covers. Bit of a change to the field. Short third man and point and covers coming into play. Manpreet hitting that back of point. Bit of a misfield, allowing the batsman to go for one.
Looks very classy, Manpreet, when he plays those shots on the offside.
Certainly. With a lot of good batsmen, you can certainly see they have a little that extra time to play the ball.
And that's the key. That's the key. All you youngsters out there, always you should look to be watching the ball early out of the bowler's hands.
Tim David's asking for a change of gloves. Let's talk about Tim for a second here, Cash. Tim's obviously come from Australia. For him to acclimatise to the Singapore conditions, I certainly saw him a couple of times during the innings remove his helmet, and you can see sweat just absolutely pouring off his head. So kudos to him to actually acclimatise, come into the setup, and now obviously contribute to Singapore in a big way.
Oh yes, Singapore cricket is definitely enjoying the fruits of having him in the squad today. But you see, about the acclimatizing part, when you're in there, you set yourselves up with a nice score. The adrenaline just keeps you going. I'm sure he'll probably lose a couple of kilos by the end of the innings, but we'll have to quickly go and rehydrate. I had heard from Rahul Dravid years ago in a typical test innings, and he used to sweat a lot. He would lose about 6 kilos in when you play those long test innings.
That reminds me of Mitchell Stark conversation that not that I had, wish I did, but when he had an interview, he certainly mentioned during when they tour India for a test series, they all come back about 8 to 10 kilos lighter. That's unreal. This is going to be really interesting. Basant Regmi, who went for 29 of 2 overs, has come into bowl, and he's your typical left-arm orthodox who flights the ball in, trying to tempt the batsman to a big one. I'm really keen to see how he goes here against Tim Davids. Bowled nice and flat, drilled down to long on for a single. He certainly would need to bowl a little bit more quicker to Tim Davids and maybe tempt Manpreet for that big shot with a bit of flight going.
Yep, let's see what he's going to bring in these next 5 balls. Nepal searching for that next wicket, and definitely Manpreet will be the first one to go to look to target, as he's just recently come to the crease. There it is. There's his inside out drive to extra cover for a single. Just looks elegant. Just absolutely love watching that shot when he plays.
But that was Basant Regmi again changing the approach and bowling that really flighted ball for Manpreet.
Tim would be fancying himself to take this all the way. 65 of 36, still about 6 overs to go.
Well bowled by Basant Regmi. Saw the batsman come down the crease and absolutely fired it into the batsman's pads, who played it really well towards long gone for a run.
Played to long on by Manpreet for another single.
Really well fielded by Gyanendra Mala here at long on. Experienced campaigner with Singapore as well. Opening bat for Nepal.
Manpreet doing a really good job so far of rotating the strike and letting Tim to look to play the big shots.
Really well bowled by Basant Regmi again, really cramping Tim Davids for room. Not allowing Tim to use those big levers.
Yes, powerful shoulders he has, young Tim.
Tim hailing from Western Australia, batting with the Bradbury bat as well, which is certainly manufactured in Western Australia as well.
Slightly moving the field there in the covers.
Full toss by Basant Regmi and caressed away to deep mid-wicket for 1 run by Manpreet Singh. The score's on 138 for 2 after 15 overs. Folks, if you've just joined in, just a quick rundown on the Nepalese team. Paras Khadka leading the side, followed by Gyanendra Malla, Sharad Wesokar, Basant Regmi, Sompal Kami, Dipendra Singh Airy, Sandeep Lamichane, Karan KC, Rohit Kumar Paudel, and beg your pardon, Binod Bandari, and Abhinash Bohara. Cash, will you do the honours for Singapore?
Yes, as we will also have a change in the commentary box. Sharon will be taking a short break. Zubin joining us back again. Singapore today led by their medium fast bowler, experienced campaigner Amjad Mahboob, Ananta Krishna, the leg spinner, dot ball first up. Welcome back, Zubin.
Thank you, Ash. And we're in the business end of the inning now. The last 5 overs, Singapore have done really well to get to where they are.
That one again played by Manpreet through to sweeper for a single. Your ideal score, Zubin, from here?
I always thought it needed to be around, at least around 170, 180 to be competitive. It's a good batting track, and Nepal are a strong batting side. So they will need to make sure they put up something that's competitive. They're not too far from that, and they still have 30 balls left. A lot is going to depend on this pair here. They're well set, and what they make of the last 5 overs is very, very important. Sharad he's bowling well. If you see what he's doing, is he's hitting the ball into the wicket. It might appear as half trackers, but it kind of reduces the options you have.
Hit out towards cow corner for a couple there by Manpreet. Yes, you're right, and he's also bowling smartly. You saw the earlier shot from Tim as he was stepping out. He fired the ball a bit wider. It was a bit harder for Tim to get under it. In the end, he only managed a single with that one.
That's well played to deep mid wicket for 1 by Manpreet. Manpreet's he's a thinking cricketer. He's got a good head on his shoulders. It was almost like the right guy to come in to bat after the fall of Rohan's wicket. You needed someone who could partner with Tim and take the innings forward, and these two have batted really well as a pair.
So far, yes.
Very well fielded on the boundary there. Saved a certain 4. Saved 2 runs for his side.
Just look at that power that Tim had in that shot. I almost thought, to me, it looked like there wasn't much bat in it the way he played the shot, but it just rocketed towards the boundary.
It's a feature you find in cricketers who come from who've learned their cricket and played in Australia, is the timing, because they don't play with very heavy bats in Australia given the nature of the wickets there. You find players from the subcontinent using a lot heavier bats because they tend to play more of the front foot. You can see the timing that Tim has, and he's been timing the ball spectacularly today. He's on 70, and I'm sure Singapore are hoping he's not done yet.
Yes, as you can see, the Singapore crowd over in the pavilion. It's been some exciting cricket by this young fella. Very pleasing for the crowd from both sides, I'm sure. Crowds love their boundaries, and him and Rohan certainly given them a number of them today. Folks,
The bowler is Regmi.
this telecast is brought to you exclusively by Singapore Cricket Association and WEC Sports. Hope you're enjoying the coverage at home. Screamed straight down the ground by Manpreet for a 4. Ended up being a full toss, that one. Manpreet joining the party with Timothy with that boundary.
Great use of the feet there. He made that into a full toss and put it straight behind the bowler.
The best spot to hit if you want to get a boundary for certain. Another full toss, and this one for a huge 6 towards mid-wicket. As you can see on the replay, stepping down again.
Not the best of days for Regmi. He's been targeted by the Singapore batsman. He's given 45 runs. It's an interesting choice by Paras Kharka to give him that over, given that he'd already gone for about 35 in his first 3. But he's the captain. He knows best. The Singapore batsmen have batted him well as well.
They have certainly taken him on. He's lost control there a bit. That one also ended up being a full toss. It obviously plays into your confidence when you've been hit for 30 odd runs in your first 3 overs. Zubin, you played a lot of cricket.
Well, it does 2 things. It either eats into your confidence or you respond to it and you do something about it. I've always said this, the game never keeps going one way. If you've got something in you, you've got to be able to pull it back. And what's very creditable so far is that the batting side has been able to keep up the momentum. They've not let it slip, at least till now. It's been, I don't know what it is, but it hasn't been the most impressive bowling effort. There's been a lot of full tosses and balls that have been bowled wide of the stumps. You still have to score of them, but it's they haven't really tried to pick wickets. They've tried to contain, and this is a very hard ground to contain a batting side on. Yes,
with a deck like that, it's just going to be a batsman's day if you're not going to try to take those wickets, like you said. Another big hoik by Timothy.
That's a monster hit.
Definitely out of the ground.
It's gone at least 90 meters, if I'm not wrong. And this is quickly turned into a day that Pasand Regmi would like to forget.
Yes.
54 runs in his 4 overs. He's a much better bowler than that. It's just the caliber of batting that he's had to encounter today.
Yes, I'd have to agree with that, and it's cricket. I mean, you have those bad days, and for those youngsters watching out there, as you can see, happens to the best of bowlers. It is about how you come back and keep working on your game to keep improving. Zubin?
Yes, you have to, and like I said in the very beginning, this is also the day you want to bring your A game to the ground. And sometimes it just doesn't go your way. That said, Nepal could pick up 3 or 4 wickets in the last 3 overs and stop Singapore 10 or 15 runs short of what could be a big score. You never know. This is a funny game, especially T20 cricket. It changes every over.
Absolutely, Zubin. And for all the Nepali fans out there as well, just hang in there. Like Zubin said, cricket is a funny game. Things change in a matter of a couple of balls.
Is it Lamit Chane? Who's the bowler?
Nicely played out to square leg by Manpreet for a single.
Avinash Bohara, the bowler from the Serangoon Road end, switching back to bowling round the wicket to Tim, as he has done pretty much all day. He did that to Rohan as well. I think that's a strategy to the more aggressive of the two batsmen, where he's trying to cram them for room.
That's
out.
in the air, and a good catch taken down at long on by the fielder.
The end of a very, very good inning by Tim David. Tried to get on with it, and this is exactly what I mean by coming back into the game. That is just the break Nepal needed. That is just the break they needed. This is a very crucial wicket at this time. New batsman in, just takes the momentum away from the inning. And very well bowled, Avinash Bohara.
Yes, I think he held it back a bit there, which crammed him for ruin there. Timothy would have wanted to go on to score the big one, get the 100, but having said that, very well played indeed by the young man. As Chetan Suryavanshi,
not a bad guy to come in, Chetan. If he has a good 10 balls, we could see something spectacular
yes,
from him.
It is his home ground as well.
And he hits a long ball, from everything I've known of him.
Oh yes, played for Singapore for many years. Did he play with you as well, or was it
No,
after?
it was
your
after.
playing days?
I stopped playing.
I would love to hear some stories. Single taken by Manpreet from you, Zubin. You've been involved with Singapore cricket for many years, played and captained as well.
Yes, I started playing for Singapore in 1993, and I just come into Singapore about a year ago, and it's been a wonderful association. Oh, he's hit that in the air, and it's a brilliant catch.
Not a happy outing for Chetan. Looking to
Very well bowled by Avinash Bohara there. He really held that ball back. He's turning the game in the space of 1 over, as I said a little while ago. Singapore need to finish well. It's not over. You know, the difference between winning and losing could be 10 runs.
Absolutely.
And that's why you don't lose your shape.
absolutely. Who's the new batsman at the crease?
This is a game about momentum. It's what momentum you take into the next inning. And Nepal are bringing the momentum back in their favor. Also, the psychological difference of chasing anything under 200 versus a 200 or more is, again, something very different. So, that's a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot by
And a misfield there.
Manpreet. That's a cracker of a cover drive.
That's his favorite shot as well. And as I was saying earlier, it looks very classy when he plays too. Has a lot of time playing that shot. and rewarded with that boundary, which will be a welcome relief for Singapore in this over, having lost those 2 wickets of that of set batsman Tim, as well as Chetan Suryavanshi on the first ball, a golden duck.
Another beautiful hit. And again, we're seeing proper batting. We are seeing conventional batting, and we are seeing the way Manpreet is reacting to the ball rather than trying to make too much of it.
Yes. And what that just tells you, in fact, I was having this discussion with Aminul Islam, who is here as part of the ICC with the tournament.
Top player.
Top player and top gentleman.
Indeed.
And he was talking about this bit with this whole T20 and power hitting and all that, but also at the same time that if you play with that strong base, with that good technique, you can still score runs, which is what is going to help you, in his view, also to play for longer as well, because as you get older and the hand-eye goes a bit off, it's a lot
more
harder.
the eye than the hand, but more the eye, and it keeps you in the game, which is why you see people often look at AB de Villiers and they wonder what, he's playing all these shots 360 degrees around the stumps, but that's an AB de Villiers, that's not every batsman is going to be an AB de Villiers, and I think it's very important to know your own strengths. You look at Rohan and his dismissal today, it wasn't any of the conventional shots he played that brought his downfall.
Yes.
And you look at the difference in Tim David and how he batted and the shots he played. They're both immensely talented players, but it's just that difference of keeping your shape, playing good cricket shots, that makes the difference between a 40 and an 80, if you may.
Oh, yes. And a single taken by the batsman. The first ball was a wide, so 2 runs off 1 ball so far this over.
And that's sensible cricket by Anish. He's not tried to. He wants to give himself a couple of balls just to get a feel of the pitch. Chetan, I thought, went. He got done by a beautiful slower one, no doubt. I mean, it was very well bowled, and that was kind of the breakthrough that Nepal were looking for. Could be out.
Straight.
Oh, nearly.
And a 6. It was a good attempt by the fielder at long off.
That's one of the shorter boundaries. This down the ground, and Manpreet making full use of it. Again, a good shot down on one knee, hitting it straight down the ground. You can't do much better than that, and hit it over the bowler.
Oh yes, and he's moved it on to 42. He was looking or asking for that wide there. Nicely bowled in the end by Karan.
Karan and Sompal Kami have been the pick of the bowlers for me. They both, especially Sompal, good thing he's had a good day, otherwise you never know what could have happened.
Field is running
Fielder coming on the
around
back,
and
he's
taken it. Out at mid-wicket or deep mid-wicket.
Well bowled by Karan. He tucked that in short. He's got a good measure of this track, and he's bowled well. This is his second wicket.
Sitting at 182 now. 8 balls to go.
Anything's possible.
Absolutely.
I will not put this score past Nepal by any means. They're a very strong batting side, and I would expect them to chase this. Singapore will have to bowl incredibly well and field even better and take all their chances if they want to make this into, because it's a good wicket. I called 180 a par score, and that's looking It's looking like they've gotten to that as well, and
Played out to sweeper on the offside for a couple. So young Janak Prakash has joined Anish at the crease. He can tee off as well. I've seen him hit a few big ones, Janak Prakash,
He can,
especially
yes.
straight down the ground.
yes, he can. Well bowled. Again, slow one by Karan. And well played by Anish for a single.
19 gone.
Extra cover. 19 overs gone. 185. We have a game on our hand, folks.
Yes,
This will be a very interesting chase.
indeed, Zabin. All of you watching at home, do stay tuned in. For the guys in Singapore, come down to the ground to watch Nepal chase. There's a lot of spectators here today, making a lot of noise from both sides. Quite an exciting atmosphere here at the ground. Beautiful day too. The sun is beaming, but it's not that hot as yet. Talking about earlier, as you were saying about Singapore will have to bowl and field well. With a score like that on the board, I mean, as a former player yourself as well, does that give you that confidence, bring in that energy on the field when you know that you're defending a big total? Or can it go the other way too? Could you end up being relaxing a bit? Ooh. It was a good attempt there by the fielder. Again, almost got a wicket, like you were mentioning earlier, the way Rohan got out.
Well, at this stage
Unconventional.
of the game, maybe. At this stage of the game, maybe. But not where Rohan played it and when he was well set on 47.
49.
49, sorry. You know, just think of what he could have done in the remaining 11 overs. It's what I call thinking big. Talking about your earlier question, I think there's two ways to look at it. If I'm the bowling and field, it all comes down to what I'm about to do. If I'm a batsman, I'm raring to go in and make a fist of that chase. And I'm sure each and every one of the Nepal players right now, the batsmen especially, are thinking and in their minds planning. They've seen the ground, they've been here for a week, they know what the wicket is playing like. So I'm sure they'll come in with a plan. They'll certainly have a plan. And beautifully bowled.
Lovely Yorker there.
Beautifully bowled. Bohra is turning out to be this could be a potentially match-winning performance for Nepal if they end up winning this game. It's the 4 wickets that he's taken, and I think I was mentioning this a little while ago when Sharon was here. This is not the kind of ground to contain a side on. You've got to keep picking wickets, and that's exactly what he's done.
Yes, the way Singapore were going at that 16 over mark, and to me it looked like 200 was going to be easy for them to get. But again, bringing back to what you were saying, a couple of quick wickets, and look at that now.
The game rarely keeps going one way. The game's like, you know, it's got these peaks and its troughs, no matter which side you are. And this is a bit of a mini trough as far as the Singapore batting effort is concerned. They still have 3 or 4 balls to finish well,
Yes,
if they can.
hit down the ground. I think Ananta would not be exactly happy with that one as a full toss. Would have wanted to get more from that ball, one would have thought.
Yeah, but one of those difficult full tosses onto his body, very well bowled. I thought that was very close to probably the umpire calling it, but
Very well bowled again. Wideish.
you've also got to remember that this is a final, so You know, there's always the sense of occasion counts for 10 or 15 runs.
Oh, yes.
Singapore were fortunate to win the toss. I think Nepal would have batted first as well.
Okay, this one's made the boundary. As you can see this or hear the Singapore crowd going wild there. Last ball 4 by Anish Param. Singapore finishing off with 191. Zubin, would you be happy with the score?
Well, it's runs on the board. Happy or not, I've got to put everything behind defending that. It's something I said at the pitch report. If you win the toss, put the runs on the board and then back yourself to defend the score. They've done the first part very well. I think they've exceeded expectations in the score that they've put up on the board. Now it's down to the bowlers and the fielding to see how well they defend. That said, Nepal are a very good batting side, and I would expect them to come hard at the Singapore bowling, chasing this total. And Singapore will have to play out of their skins to really make sure that they don't let Nepal get past the score.
Indeed. So folks watching at home, the second innings, Nepal's chase will resume in 10 minutes. So don't go away. It's going to be an exciting chase, as Zubin has mentioned just then, that Nepal is a strong batting team. This is Singapore's home ground. Definitely going to be an exciting second innings coming up. Please like and share the feed as well in your social media pages. And we will see you back in 10 minutes after a short break, folks.
Krishna Thamang.
Krishna Thaman, are you enjoying watching this match?
Oh, it's a fantastic day and we're really enjoying everybody. Our Nepalese fans enjoy!
So 191 runs put up by Singapore. Do you think Nepal can chase it down?
Yes! First of all, Singapore displayed a powerful batting today. They played really well, but we think Nepal will definitely prevail the target and we will win today!
All right, folks, as you can see here, Nepali supporters quite excitable, very, very loud. I hope you guys continue to cheer your team throughout the rest of the chase, and wish you guys all the best for today.
Thank you very much!
Folks at home, tune in for the second innings about to commence very shortly.
Welcome back, folks. Singapore have posted 192 on the board, an extremely competitive total in the decider. I'm joined by Zubin, back at the comm box again. Zubin, thoughts?
Very good batting effort. If you'd given Singapore 190 at the start of the game, I think they would have taken it. So this is an exceptional batting effort. It is a good batting wicket, and Nepal are a good batting side. So this is not going to be an easy score to defend. They'll have to bowl and field extremely well. But it is a final, and it's runs on the board. So may the best team win.
Singapore opening the bowling with Vinod Bhaskaran, left arm orthodox, coming around the wicket. The kind of bowler who steers the balls towards the batsman's pad, trying to spin it away. And Nepal opening the batting with the experienced pair of Paras Khatka and Gyanendra Mala. Lots of Nepal's hopes will be resting on the shoulder of the two opening batsmen, who have both done really well for Nepal. And here we go, first ball. And Gyanendra and Paras has played that off the back foot through covers for 4. Really good start for Nepal. Positive start. Vinod will be feeling a bit of nerves, Zubin.
I'm sure, and it's a new ball. There's not much turn, so he's got to get the line and length absolutely right. It's an interesting field, though I don't see any sweeper cover, which is interesting. You would think with the ball new and skidding off the surface, you'd want to back yourself to keep one fielder on the cover boundary and probably have only one back on the leg side, but he's opted for 2 fielders, 1 deep at long on and 1 deep at square.
And Paras goes down the ground over mid-off for another boundary. Positive intent here.
Very good batting.
Looking to dictate terms right at the very start. He tried to back away the second ball to caress the ball through the offside, but took the alternative option here to go down the ground.
See, that's exactly, I actually would want him playing across the line and not keep the fielder at square leg and invite him to go there rather than go downtown to a new ball, which is the easier option because it's not going to turn that much. And interestingly, Amjad has
Really well fielded by Vinod off his own bowling. Just to give the viewers a bit of a feel for what the field looks like, you've got a short third man, a backward point, covers, extra cover, mid-off, long on, mid-wicket, square, deep square leg, and fine leg.
well bowled. Good comeback by Vinod in that over, despite being taken for a 4 and a 6. 4 dot balls.
Bowling from the Balestier Road end will be Janak Prakash. Although a lot of people keep referring to young Janak Prakash, he is a seasoned campaigner, has been playing for Singapore in some high-profile games as well. So he's someone who comes in with experience as well.
Yes, and he's one of our exciting prospects. He's gotten better with the years. His pace has picked up, and this will be an interesting test of his mental strength, more not just his cricket abilities.
Starts off with a good length ball outside off. Well played by Gyanendra Malla towards backward point. You've got Rohan Rangarajan fielding at backward point. He's someone who does have an impact on the field. Not only does his batting come good for Singapore, but he's truly exceptional in the field as well, Zubin.
He is, and this is probably the fittest, Singapore side has ever been. They've trained very hard, and that's shown in the fielding.
Played straight through to covers to Anish Param.
I'd like to see him get a little fuller and closer to the stumps. Those 2 balls have been, the first one was all right, this one is a little outside off, and Gyanendra is still sort of finding his way into the innings. It's early days, he's only played 2 balls, but
Janak strays it down the leg side, and batsman picks up an easy 4 runs. The pressure that was building onto Gyanendra Malla has sort of released with that boundary. The surface looks like an absolute batting paradise.
it's an interesting field setting again. We've got a short fine leg who is more square than he should probably be finer.
That's picked away by Gyanendra Malla off his pads, and it's clipped over mid-wicket for 6. Brilliant shot.
Brilliant shot there by Gyanendra.
He didn't try to overhit it. Relied on his timing. Janak usually gets a lot of movement, especially towards the right-handers moving away. Considering it's quite hot, not finding the swing.
I don't think anyone's getting any movement today. And that's where he needs to keep it. He's bowled on both sides of the wicket, especially 2 balls down leg side. This is the power play. You're not going to be allowed the luxury of fielders outside the circle, so you've got to be absolutely spot on with your line and length, which is where I thought Sompal did a fabulous job in the opening spell for Nepal. I mean, if he hadn't bowled as well as he did, who knows what the score would have been. As did Buhara, and he even got the reward of, I think, 4 wickets it was. So you got to really cramp, you got to bowl tight into the batsman, no room on either side of the wicket, and that's where
Janak strays it down the leg side, and he's been clipped again through fine leg for 4 runs. Both Nepalese batsmen getting into their flow, getting into their innings. Good positive intent by both batsmen. And after 2 overs, Nepal are 24 for no loss. Zubin, you touched on Sompal Kami. Post this tournament, he's going to be heading into the G20 tournament in Canada. So a really good find from an Asian perspective going into a global tournament, which is great for the game to see.
I think it's absolutely the opportunity for players to travel and play. I used to do that when I was 17, 18. I used to go and play in England, and I used to live alone. And it's a huge development process when you go and you live and you work with people you don't know, and then you learn to find your own way. There's a lot of development that happens as an individual with such experience. So fabulous for Sompal.
Powers going down the track and hitting that straight through to long on for a single. Vinod was lucky to get away with the first ball, but good comeback by him to dart the ball straight into the batsman's pad for a single on this ball. Vinod himself being a good find for the Singapore squad. Not only a handy left armour, but also good left-hand batsman who's able to rotate strike. This is the first ball. Gyanendra Malla will be facing off Vinod. Gyanendra trying to give him some room and trying to hit it through mid-off. Dot ball.
And that's what I meant by making the batsman play towards mid-wicket. It's not going to be easy playing square on the onside when the ball is new, which is why I feel that fielder at deep square leg is a bit of a waste. I'd give him protection on the offside, which is probably where they want to hit him when the ball is still new and the way he's bowling. Oh, that's not the best effort in the field. I thought he would go for it. Maybe I'm wrong. It's one of those games where you need to pull off a spectacular catch or have a blinder of a spell that kind of wins it for your team. And that's very good bowling by Vinod. He followed the batsman there, and Paras had no choice but to just play it back down the ground for 1 run. Good comeback this over by Vinod. Brings a bit of sanity back to the chase. The Nepal batsmen were going berserk in the first 2 overs. They raced away to 24. Only 3 runs of that over. So good comeback by Vinod.
The skipper of Singapore, Amjad Mahbub, into the attack, understanding very quickly that his young prodigy was struggling with the ball, and he's taken the responsibility to come into the attack to get some inroads into the Nepal batting lineup. Amjad, also a very experienced campaigner, usually amongst the wicket column for Singapore, has an excellent back of the hand slower ball, especially in the T20 format, that has done him really well.
I call him the wicked taking arm of the Singapore side. He can be a bit expensive sometimes, and his pace has dropped over the years, obviously, but it's all that experience he brings in, and he bowls a brilliant slow ball, which becomes the undoing of many batsmen. He's got a very quick action, arm action, and so the slow ball which he releases back of the hand becomes even more difficult to pick. Let's see what he has here.
Paris has hit it up in the end. He's caught.
And that's a big wicket for Singapore. Did I call him wicket-taking arm of Singapore?
You did, Zubin, you did. And that got the bottom of Paris's bat, and he's caught at mid-on. Good catch by Surendra Chandramohan. And the Singapore squad are absolutely ecstatic.
That's a big wicket. That's a big, big wicket. And I think Paras got done by the pace of that ball. I think he expected it to come onto the bat a lot quicker, and it didn't. So early blow for Nepal. But then again, they're a strong batting lineup. They bat deep, and Singapore need to make sure they keep the pressure here. Good start by the skipper.
Absolutely. You see Sarad Wesokar coming into bat. Again, another experienced campaigner, stalwart for Nepal cricket. A lot of Nepal's success has been because of the first three batsmen for Nepal, which is Gyanendra, Paras and Sarad. But the Nepalese will certainly be feeling a little bit of pressure here. Good total on the board. The captain's out of the equation now in the game. Certainly a bit of a dent in the confidence.
Yes, they would have liked Paras to continue. He is their trump card in the side. The great Saurav Ganguly once said, in a final, in a 50-over final, you add 25 runs just for the pressure of the occasion to any total that a team puts up. And this is a T20 game, and the sense of the occasion is equal to another 10 or 15 runs on that total. So it's going to be interesting. Strong batting lineup. They've got to keep a tight line. And what's very important, what was very important about that wicket was that catch being taken, because had it not, if something happens, it just lets the whole team down. And this is where Singapore have been very...
And that's dropped at third man.
That's a great effort, but bad luck.
Short ball outside off. Gyanendra Malla trying to get that over backward point. Gets a fine edge towards third man. Great effort, but fingertips.
Very hard to pick those shots. They drop on you very, very quickly, and it's hard to kind of figure. They're falling in front of you. All catches that either fall in front sideways are a lot easier. But when they're dropping in front of you or behind you, then they become that much harder. And this is not the kind of a spinner. This is of a quick bowler, so it's coming flat, but good effort in the end.
Ball outside off, left by Sharad. Amjad Mahbub bringing all that experience into play. 4 balls into the over, 1 for 1. He'd be really happy with that start.
It's what wickets does. It keeps pushing you back as a batting side. And what Singapore should try and do is keep the pressure on to keep picking up a wicket and not just think of containing. Because I keep saying this every time, it's a very, very hard ground to contain a batting side on.
Another ball outside off. Gets the edge towards third man. 1 bounce straight through to the fielder. Salador Vijayakumar fielding at third man.
Yeah, you could see he didn't want to go for that second shot that went in the air, given his experience with the first one, which was a fabulous effort. And he'd had one in Vinod's over as well when the ball was hit high in the air, I think, and he kind of stopped short and held himself back.
Good first over by Amjad Mahbub. 1 for 2. Nepal are 29 for 1.
Is this a bowling change?
No, Vinod Bhaskaran continuing from
Continuing.
the. I've been told it's the Rangoon Road end, and Vinod getting into his third over. Has done a really good job for Singapore so far. After going for runs in the first over, really contained the batsman in the second.
Well bowled.
Nicely bowled and well fielded, not giving the batsman any opportunity to rotate strike. Nepal should be a bit careful here. If the dot balls pick up, that can lead to a false shot. So they need to look at least rotating the strike. Well bowled again by Vinod, darting it into the batsman's pads. Not a very big turner of the ball, but gets the ball to move ever so slightly.
Which is probably why he gets the new ball. You know, he's very accurate. He's very hard to get runs off, and he bowls these darts into you, and you can see the pressure he's already creating on Sharad, who's a new batsman on strike. He's only played 5 balls, and I think what Nepal need to do is just compose themselves and play sensible cricket. What they don't want to do is give another wicket to Singapore at this stage. Even if they fall behind the run rate just a little bit, they can always pick it up. There's going to be the 4th and 5th bowlers of every bowling side. So see how they go and just consolidate for the next 5 to 7 overs. Oh, that should have been caught. The chance goes missing. As I was saying earlier, Singapore will have to field out of their skins if they want to win this game, and you know, a team like Nepal is not going to give you too many chances, and when they do come, they have to be taken.
The last 2 balls, Sharad trying to go inside out. Short ball by Vinod, but well bowled though. He saw the batsman charging in, darted into the pads for 1 run towards long on. That was really smart bowling by Vinod to Sharad. He could see that Sharad was trying to go inside out over covers and was not giving him any room, and that led to the false shot. Well played by Gyanendra Malla, straight down to long on for a single. Vinod's bowled his 3rd over, and
not a single ball has gone to deep square leg in the 3 overs till now. Sorry, I'm just going to keep harping about it. It's a field I would leave open and ask the batsman to hit through there. He's so hard to hit off the pads, Vinod, and he's given 3 boundaries on the offside. So that's probably where I should be giving him more protection. But it's worked so far, and Amjad into his 2nd over. We're going to have a change. I'm going to hand over the mic to Ash and take a break myself.
Good morning, folks. Good to be back in the commentary box. Sharon? Misfield there, behind square. Batsman managing to get
a thick inside edge towards shot fine, and it's run to the boundary for 4. So Nepal are 35 for 1 after 5.1 overs. Cash, but realistically, if you look at it, Singapore would have taken the start, considering the score on the board and the pressure that they've created with a few dot balls. They wouldn't be complaining at this point.
No, I certainly would agree with that one. So far, so good for them, chasing 192. Definitely a tall order, especially in a pressure game.
Short ball from Amjad, and Gyanendra Malla has pulled that over square leg for 6. Massive 6. Really good shot. He got behind the line, great swivel, and gets it over the square leg boundary for 6.
Amjad will have to summon all his experience. Amjad will have to summon all his experience now for the rest of the 4 balls. Already gone for 2 of the first, gone for 10, sorry, of the first 2. Let's see what he's got in his bag of tricks.
Gyanendra takes Amjad over mid-off for another 6. He's certainly looking on song. What's really good about him, he tends to keep his balance really strong. He's very neutral on his feet, and he plays to the merit of the ball. Really good batting.
Yes, for all the youngsters out there watching, it's definitely a masterclass in terms of following the basics of batting, keeping the base strong, getting your head to the ball, getting right under it. That's where you're going to get maximum value for your shots. Folks, we have about 600,000 people overall at some stage or the other. Our feed has gone into, and
that's a brilliant shot again. Really waited on that, got on top of it, and caressed it through the offside between cover and point. Brilliant batting by Gyanendra. He's certainly setting the tone for this chase for Nepal and bringing some momentum back in favor for Nepal.
yes, Amjad will not be happy with himself with this. Pitched some short balls in as well, which they've capitalized on. 2 more balls to come. That's the first dot ball in the over. He certainly would want to keep the next one to a dot as well, with about 20 runs already in this over.
Cash, I can already see the writing here. It's Nepal just on track now with that 20 runs, 51 of 5, getting close to the 6th over, going close to 9 runs and over. What's your prediction on a close finish here, Cash?
Look, it's certainly setting up well, like you said. Singapore has had a couple of fumbles, a couple of drop catches so far. If they want to stay in the game, they're going to have to definitely lift their fielding side of it as well a few notches, as well as with the bowling. I mean, it's criminal to bowl short or give the batsman any width on this wicket.
Salador Vijay Kumar will be replacing Vinod Bhaskaran at the Rangoon road end. Bowls off spinners, usually from around the wicket to the right-handers, cramping them up for room. Tends to again dart the ball towards the batsman's pads. Usually has a very tight leg side field, trying to encourage the batsman to play on the offside.
He's done well in this tournament, as he is. He's a consistent performer, and hopefully he holds on to his nerves in this crucial match and delivers for Singapore. Sharon?
It's important for the Singapore squad to keep Sharad on strike as much as he can. He's faced 7 balls. Nudged away behind square for a single. Sharad's played 8 balls now, scored 3 runs, and he certainly did not look too comfortable with the spinners. So from a Singapore perspective, Singapore might want to keep him on strike as much as they can. Saying that, Gyanendra Malla is someone who usually likes to dictate terms and has been going really well this innings, 37 of 19. So he'd be looking to take Salador on.
Yes, going to be a good contest, this one.
Salador's that ball was swept towards backward point, bit of a turn on the ball, leading to a misfield, and the batsmen were able to come back for 2 runs.
The Singapore players know.
And he's
What a
bowled him.
wicket! Through the gates. You miss, I hit.
Salador has cleaned Gyanendra Malla off.
A very crucial wicket here for Singapore. Brings them right back into the driving seat if they can keep it tight from here on.
I was just going to say, just before that ball catch, why do I feel there was something that's going to happen this ball? Should have said it. Should have said it.
I look, Sharad, that one I think we've done a couple of those commentators curse bits. That's why I've been holding myself back actually from really making any predictions. In fact, even just before the ball that Rohan got out today as well, I was just talking about how well he was playing, how well he's approached the game, and I was looking forward to his 50, and he got out. New batsman
Is Deepak Irie, right-hander, usually a good player of spin. Paras Khatka and Gyanendra Malla both back into the dugout for Nepal.
Yes, and obviously they're 2 best batters as well, and they've done well throughout the tournament too. And I'm sure the Nepal fans were also counting heavily on at least one of them coming through and playing a long innings. Quick single taken by Dipender Singh. Salador has done well so far.
Reverse played, really smartly played past short third man for 4. Smart batting by Sharad. He certainly had to do something to break the shackles. He was certainly going through a few dot balls. Pressure was sort of building, and that's the experience of Sharad coming into play. He's someone who's played for Nepal for a long time and has grown up the ranks of playing under 15, under 17, under 19s for Nepal, and he's come through that sort of a route for Nepal. Hence, he's bringing all that experience here into play.
Indeed. You're going to want to try to predict the type of ball?
Hit straight back to the bowler. Amjad Mahmood has signalled to Ananta Krishna, the team's leg spinner, to warm up. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting Ananta to bowl, which is the case. Yep.
Exciting young cricketer, Ananta as well, very passionate about his game.
Ananta usually a big turner of the ball. Bowls really good wrist spin, has a very good flipper.
Well, he's going to have to pull all of that out of his bag of tricks if he is to help Singapore's cause here. As I had started saying earlier while we wait for the over to start, a win today means a lot to the Singapore team, and they very well know that. Ranked overall few notches below Nepal. Nepal already is a team with ODI status, and a win here and going to the next stage for the World Cup qualifiers will be a big boost for the Singapore boys. Let's see what they've got coming up.
From a field perspective, Ananta's got a long on, a deep square leg, a mid-wicket, leaving the deep mid-wicket position open, trying to entice the batsman to go over the leg side, and a short fine leg.
Swept and swept fine for a couple.
On the offside, Singapore's got a short third man, a backward point, a cover, sweeper, and a long off. Good start by Ananta, getting it right up there, causing the batsman to create a shot. Really well bowled by Ananta, enticing the batsman to come down the track, getting the ball to dip. And the batsman fortunate enough to get a bit of an inside edge onto the pad. Really well bowled by Ananta, darted it onto the batsman's pads, got a bit of turn, and 1 run scored.
Some intelligent bowling there. Saw the batsman ready and wanting to step out of the crease. Did that the first ball he faced off him as well.
For Nepal, it's important that both Sharad and Dipendra Irie stay at the crease. Sharad goes straight, and he's
what a
taken
catch!
at long off.
A brilliant catch right on the ropes.
That was a brilliant catch by Janak Prakash at long off.
He's taken some good catches this tournament, young Janak Prakash, as you can see.
He's
leaping
left
high.
and take that over with one hand, Cash.
A la Steve Smith. What a brilliant catch. All the youngsters watching out there. A great lesson in boundary line catching. Masterclass there by Janak Prakash.
That was probably the catch of the tournament, Cash.
Yes, I would have to agree. As the new batsman comes into the crease, Rohit Kumar. Nepal's
Rohit Kumar Paudel, the new batsman. I've just been told, in fact I was part of it, I should have known, the same catch that Janak Prakash took, very similar to what Tim Davis took off the reverse sweep at point.
yes, Singapore versus Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zubin earlier highlighted if Singapore had to get some inroads into the Nepal batting lineup, they had to field out of their skin. And just with that catch, it shows how it can actually demoralize the opponent.
And as he runs that down to long on for a single, and also lifts the morals of your team when your teammates see you do something spectacular, something heroic like that. Everyone will give in their extra 100% on top of what they are doing on the field.
Really well bowled by Ananta, just outside off stump. That's 8 overs gone, 63 for 3.
Definitely game on. I was going to ask you, Sharon, Nepal's batting depth. You've seen them play a couple more matches earlier. Your thoughts?
Nepal's got a deep batting lineup, and this is when associate countries play with each other, they usually tend to bat deep because of the caliber of cricket that you play within Asia. They all know each other well, similar type of batsmen, so they tend to bat deep. And the wickets as well in the subcontinent helps them to sort of bat deep as well, because they're playing in sort of similar conditions. Current KC, for example, batted at number 11 for Nepal and scored a 50 to get them over the line to get ODI status. So certainly bat deep and a good side.
Dot ball there, first up. Played down, straight down the ground for a boundary, cutting the two fielders into half. As I was saying earlier, if you want to maximize your chances of getting that boundary, got to hit straight past the bowler, hit it hard. Going to get it 9 times out of 10.
Good shot by Rohit, good intent. Even with Nepal 3 wickets down, they're still going for their shots. And he's hit it straight back to Salador, who's taken a cotton ball.
Brilliant, brilliant. He's more than made up for that drop catch earlier. And Nepal definitely in a spot of bother now.
My oh my, what are we seeing here, Cash?
Well, for Singapore from here on, they just have to keep their bowling tight, avoid those misfields. They will have themselves right in the game, I would say, all the way through.
The new batsman into the crease is Binod Bandari, the Nepalese wicket-keeper.
Have you seen him bat earlier this tournament?
Not quite, Cash. But I'm glad to see him batting now.
Well, Nepali fans will definitely be hoping that he goes on to score a big one from here for Nepal. Things are going to be a bit difficult, as you can see there.
Nudged away, back of square for a single.
Always a good relief to get off strike and get off the mark first up for a batsman.
Absolutely. Cash, you touched on this. I'll get to that in a second. Nudged away again through the onside for a single by Deepak Ari. Cash, you touched on what this means for Singapore in terms of an opportunity, and just by looking at a couple of the celebrations by the players, it just goes to show what it means to them as well. Singapore have obviously been working hard over the last, say, 12 months, trying to put in the... That's a great shot by
Binod.
Binod, caressed through the offside for a boundary. Short ball from Salador, brought back and taken him through the offside. Like I was saying, Cash, Singapore have obviously been training for a good period of time and putting the hard yards, especially with members who are a lot of working members and coming to train in the evenings, you know, from 6:30 to say 12 or even 1 at times to put in the fitness levels. So just it goes to show that if the hard yards been done, how much of an opportunity it presents, one, to play good level of cricket, but also make an impact.
Oh yes, absolutely, spot on there, Sharon, and all the youngsters out there watching as well. A lot of you who are passionate about the game. We were talking about this earlier as well in the Malaysia-Singapore game. Almost, I thought there was going to be another catch behind square there, the way the ball ballooned up as he tried to paddle that towards fine leg. But yeah, that importance of hard work, the dedication, the sincerity, always pays.
That's really well bowled by
Very, very-
Ananta. He's the first bowler to get that much of turn on this wicket as well, and that is the impact a good leg spinner can make in a squad. They certainly go for runs at times, but they certainly pick you the key wickets that you need as well.
Oh yes.
Ambitious shot there by Binod, but again, he's looking to break the shackles. Shot ball, hit straight through to sweeper on the offside. Well, Cash, we spoke about how hard the Singapore players have been training, but a lot of credit has to be given to the coaches and the support staff as well, who day in, day out try to make sure the right facility and the right infrastructure is in place for the cricketers.
Oh yes.
Well bowled again by Ananta. Gets the leading edge. Dot ball. So Bilal Asad, bowling coach, Fahad Masood,
Fielding
coach Mr. Rehan, Arjun Menon, Jamal De
Yes.
Silva, Shoaib Razak, all of them spend ample amount of time. Well played by Deepak, just a turn strike off. Really good bowling here by Ananta, really keeping things tight. It's great to see that he's making the batsmen think for different shots, on executing different shots, and getting them to be a bit more ambitious with their cricket, and he's keeping things simple.
Yes, that's a very important point there, right? Keeping it simple. When you know your game, back yourself to play it the way you do, and not taking anything away from young Rohan Rangarajan. The way he batted today was just absolutely sensational, but what got the better of him was that unconventional shot, which, like Zubin was mentioning, he probably should have tried a bit later in the innings. That 50 was his for the taking, and he missed out, unfortunately.
So folks, if you've just tuned in, Singapore winning the toss and batting first, scored 192. Top scorer being Tim David and Rohan Rangarajan. Great shot, well fielded by Tim
Oh, brilliant effort.
at sweeper, keeping the batsman to 2 runs.
Yes, very good effort there by Tim. He's a tall lad, not that easy to run and get low on the ball to pick that up in the boundary, but very good effort.
That's a slog sweep onto the leg side. Fielder's getting underneath it, and he's caught it.
Whoa!
He juggled it a couple of times, and he's picked up the catch.
Another brilliant catch out there in the end. Who's taken that?
My guess would be Anish Param. Yeah, he's fumbled it a couple of times, and he's taken it. Brilliant catch.
79 for 5, Nepal. Singapore at this stage definitely in the driver's seat, unless Nepal can pull a rabbit out of their hat.
Nepal certainly needs something special from this point to get across the line. Singapore playing extremely spirited cricket. So folks, if you just join in, Singapore batting first, scored 191 for the loss of 6 wickets. Tim David's top scoring with 77 of 43. Rohan Rangarajan scoring 49 and Manpreet Singh getting 42. For Nepal, Abhinash Bohara picking up 4 wickets and Karan Casey with 2. Nepal, currently 79 for 5, opened up with Paras Katka and Gyanendra Mala. Mala scoring 39, Paras getting 12. And since then, it's been single digits for Nepal. Great bowling by Salador. Good catching by Singapore to this point.
Yes.
They've certainly been quite energetic and quite spirited on the field.
Oh yes, they've made up for those early fumbles and a couple of drop catches in the beginning. Lifted their game. Skied high in the air.
Skied high
again,
into
long
the
off
air,
coming
and
under
Salah
it,
gets
and
another one.
That's it. That's taken by Chetan Suryavanshi. Nepal 6 down. Singapore certainly will be confident from here on.
Absolutely, Cash. Just made me think about the different winners for the major tournaments. You had the World Cup in India in 2011, India triumphed. You had the World Cup in Australia in 2015, where Australia came up on top, and just the recently concluded World Cup where England came up on top. Could there be something truly called home ground advantage?
Yes, it used to be. It actually used to be a jinx before. It used to be a disadvantage, but it's definitely turned around in the last few tournaments, and it's rubbed off on this Asia final as well for Singapore. All you youngsters who are watching out there, some fantastic display of outfield catching there by Singapore. Even the one catch as the dot balls bowled that Anish took as well in the second ball of this over, he had that presence of mind to juggle it and still hold on to it.
That's a close one at the bowler's end. Nudged away by Deepak Ari. Backward square leg. The new batsman is the opening bowler for Nepal, Sompal Kami. Nepal are 80 for 6 off 11. I'll take a break from here and Zubin will take over.
Welcome back, Zubin.
Thank you, Ash. I have to admit, it was getting a bit excited out there. It's been a terrific performance. Singapore have really tightened the pressure, and they've caused the batsmen from Nepal to force the pace. And like I said, this is not one of those grounds which you can clear that easily. It is very misleading. You need to play good cricketing shots and get maximum value. That's a close one.
Yes. So did it hit him outside the line? I'm not sure, but yes, you're right.
Probably some bat in it. No, it pitched outside leg.
Good ball.
Well, I was standing in the crowd, and when Ananta Krishna started his spell, I said this could be the turning moment in the game. And then Chetan Suryavanshi pulled off the most spectacular catch. I think that was a catch that met international standards of spectacular on the boundary. It was not the catch he took, but the way he landed back inside the rope that probably made it that. And I think that to me is, if somebody were to ask me what the turning point of the game was, it was that.
Oh, yes.
It was that catch.
You're spot on, Zubin. That's exactly what we were saying when that catch was taken, although we mistakenly thought it was Janak Prakash who took that catch.
Was it Janak?
I thought it was
Janak, I'm sorry.
Okay, so played out towards deep mid wicket. Very well fielded there by Surendran to cut that down to 2. Sorry, that was Tim. My apologies, folks.
everything is going for Singapore at this point. They're fielding and bowling like a side on top. The dives are coming in, the balls are being stopped, and from here on, Nepal will need something superhuman to win the game for them, because this asking rate now is almost, or probably more than 12 and over, and it's a very uphill task from here with only 4 wickets left in hand.
Indeed, with all their top batsmen back in the dressing room, it's going to be a superhuman effort from the lower order batsmen. Straight.
That's a very good shot down the track. He used his feet very well and hit it for 6. Beautiful shot there by Dipendra Singh. He's not going to go down without a fight, and he's just showing that it's something for the fans to cheer about, and it tells the Singapore team that this game is far from over. They still have 4 more wickets to get, and Nepal need exactly 103 runs from here.
Spot on there, Zubin. You just cannot afford to get complacent. You have to stay in the game all the way through. Sometimes, sitting in that driver's seat, sometimes you can get a little bit lazy, thinking we've got the game in the bag. I'm sure you'll be able to share from your experience.
Complacency, yes, absolutely. It's been the downfall of many a fielding side from time to time, where the last 2 or 3 wickets have come and taken the game away. So Singapore need to be careful here and not let it slip out of hand.
Quick single taken.
Good fielding, good pressure.
Yes, slightly expensive this over.
But he still bowled a beautiful spell so far. 19 in 3 overs, and that 1 wicket of a spectacular catch.
Oh yes,
by Janak, as I've been corrected, and rightly so.
Definitely good figures so far by Ananta. He's got good control. That's very important for a leg spinner. This Kumar bowling his last over. Starts off with a dot ball. He's been a consistent performer for Singapore over the years, Selador.
Well bowled again, keeping it tight. Only a single of that ball. This shouldn't worry Singapore too much at this stage. Dot balls and ones. It's as long as they can keep the boundaries down to a minimum.
Exactly, Zubin. Singapore will definitely not be bothered about the ones and twos every so often.
What Sompal and Dipendra will be looking for is the boundary, and he showed us in the previous over, Dipendra Singh, that he is no mug with the bat. He danced down the wicket. Ananta is not an easy bowler to step out to. He's tall, he's quick through the air, but the way he played that shot told you that there's a lot there as far as Dipendra is concerned as a batsman. He's a good player.
He's hit that out towards deep mid for a couple. Yes, that 6 was a very good display of that basics of batting, of setting yourself up in that strong base. Oh,
probably hit him outside off stump, the point of impact. And with Selador coming around the wicket, he's probably not going to get a lot of turn, and the ball's probably sliding down. That said, it's still a good shout. I've liked the umpiring in this game. It's been very consistent, and what I've liked is what I've liked particularly in this tournament is that the umpires haven't been trigger happy. Something we've, I think as a player, it's the one thing you want. You're fine with umpires erring on the side of caution than to throw it to the wind. Another good over by Celador. That's the end of his spell. 4 wickets for 25. What a performance that is by the off spinner. A great spell, probably a match-winning one. We'll see how the game goes, but excellent effort under the circumstances.
Indeed, Zubin, very well bowled by Celador again. He did that in that game against Malaysia as well the other day. Some good, consistent performances throughout this tournament. 4 wickets today, he'll be happy.
4 wickets in a final.
He's held his nerves.
4 wickets in any inning is a great return for a bowler, and in a T20 final of this magnitude, it is a huge effort.
Oh, for sure. Janak's come back in as a batsman's taken. Okay, there's a bit of misfield there, which has resulted in a 4.
Bit sloppy on the third man boundary there. Just trying to get who the fielder was.
Exactly to, was it Surendran? No.
Surendran.
It was Surendran. No, actually it was Vijay Kumar, Celador Vijay Kumar. And like we were talking, you can't get complacent.
Yes.
Played out to sweeper. And a mix up there.
And there's the run out.
There was never a second run in there when the ball was hit out at deep extra cover. And Dipendra Singh, obviously understanding that they have to try and go for maximum runs every ball, took a bit of a big punt there. His partner wasn't interested.
I think it was Sompal who's run out. He was going for the second run. Dipendra is now on strike.
Yeah, my apologies, folks.
That was Sompal who played that shot, and somehow they obviously did not communicate amongst themselves. But Dipendra was quite clear from the very beginning that he didn't want the second run, but Sompal kept running, and even though he was fortunate, the throw went to the keeper, but
there was plenty of time with him.
There was plenty of time if he decided to come back, yes. But he just kept running, and that did it. Good take by Janak at the bowler's end. It wasn't not the best of throws by Manpreet on the bounce, but Janak kept his cool, caught the ball and took the bails off. The umpire clearly had no hesitation in giving that out.
Exactly. Just that importance of keeping your eyes on the ball. That's
and
what
keeping
it
your
is.
cool.
That's
Yes.
it. A wild swing there. Good comeback by Janak in this over after going for 14 in his first. $100 up, 100 for 7. Not looking pretty for Nepal. It was an interesting shot. There was like a swat pull.
He's a talented batsman, Dipendra Singh. He's got so much time. The way he swatted that ball. Janak he's medium fast, and he dug that in. But The thing I've noticed in this inning in particular has been Amjad Mahboob's field placements, which have been pretty spot on. I know I was a little critical in the beginning of the fielder he had at deep square leg on Vinod's bowling, but other than that, he's got his fielders in the right place most of the time, especially with the catches. And that's another wicket. Looks like it.
Yes. Fingers gone up. Singapore crowds just absolutely going wild out there in the pavilion. I can hear the background noise in the background. Yep, there was a big deviation there, big deflection off the bat. Good simple take for Manpreet. Nepal 8 down. Singapore are definitely now right in with this one. It is from this point on going to be next to impossible for Nepal. What Singapore will be looking for now is to get those remaining 2 wickets and get them quickly to make it a big win for themselves. That's what they will be trying to do. 14 gone, 101 for 8. Folks, this live coverage is brought to you exclusively by the Singapore Cricket Association and Wii Sports. Hope you're enjoying our coverage out at home. A lot of work has been put in by the production team in bringing this together. As this game progresses towards close, do like the Singapore Cricket Association Facebook page as well. It's a wide.
Jana getting a bit carried away there. Bending his back, but losing control of his line and length, giving a wide. I think even the captain's going to forgive him at this stage.
Yes, I would say so. With this score and this number of wickets, you do have a little bit of a leeway of going away with a few loose ones. Finishes off with a dot ball. 1 or 2 for 8 at the end of 14. Exactly 90 runs needed of 6 overs.
You could probably discuss that if there was, a far smaller number in that wickets column next to the scoreboard. But given the number of wickets they've lost, I'm not sure how much of a chance. I don't know enough about Nepal or Dipendra looks good, but I don't know how much Basant Regmi can bat. It does look to be more of a case of how quickly Singapore can wrap this up now.
Oh yes, and it is also about the pressure on the lower order batsmen. They might be able to bat and bat well, but if chances are that you don't bat out there in the middle that often because your top order does well, in this kind of situation it makes it even more difficult. That's sort of pulled behind square for a 4 by Dipendra.
Vinod's got to finish well here. This is an older ball now. It's not the new ball that he was bowling with. So he probably needs to adjust his line a little bit and move a little more towards the offside, because the ball will come slower off the wicket, and that'll give the batsman enough time to place him anywhere on the leg side. It was okay. That line was okay when the ball is new, so he'll just have to make that slight adjustment.
Right about that, Zubin.
He doesn't mind that single, gets Dipendra off strike. No, he refused that run. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Dipender is going to do a Mahendra Singh Dhoni now. He's going to farm the strike for
Oh,
himself
yes.
and then look to see.
There you go. He's been held to a single there by the fielder there behind square. But as you were saying earlier about Amjad's field placements, he's been good throughout the tournament. Even the game against Malaysia, he was spot on with his catches and the ones out saving the boundaries.
Well, I was telling Sharon earlier, I call him the wicket-taking arm for the Singapore bowling side. More importantly, what I feel is he's a very calm and collected individual. He's never ruffled about anything, and that's something that comes naturally to a player and especially a leader.
Yes.
I'm personally a big fan of the leaders who can keep their calm in the storm, and he seems to have that, and that's the end of
Dipender Singh.
Dipender Singh. Stumped off a wide ball, very well bowled. He saw him charging and bowled it wide down the legs, and a brilliant take by Manpreet Singh.
Yes, he
to
has.
get that stumping.
He has done a good job behind the stumps, Manpreet Singh. Brilliantly taken.
This reminds me of a stumping in the '96 World Cup. Tendulkar was, I think, batting on 96.
Is this
or
a semi-final?
no, this is the game against Australia, and Tendulkar was going all guns, and Mark Waugh was bowling off spin, and he had him stumped off a wide ball. He saw him charging and bowled it really wide of the off stump, which was it's etched in my memory. And this was again very good bowling by Vinod. He saw the batsman, I think, and he just slipped it down leg side to.
No, very, very intelligent bowling there. And talking about when you talked about calm leaders and having that aspect, which is quite important for all the youngsters out there as well. If you want to lead and lead well, Zubin himself captained Singapore for a number of years. So some good pearls of wisdom there, kids, if you want to learn to lead well.
If you look at some of the best captains in cricket, you will notice that they give very little away from the emotion on their faces. And I was reading Shane Warne's book, No Spin, recently, and he rates Mark Taylor as one of the best. Alan Border and Mark Taylor as the two best captains he's played under. And
that's
the end. That's it. Singapore
has wrapped it up. Fantastic, fantastic win for the boys. As you can see, the celebrations, all them going wild out there. The crowd is just loud cheering them on. Singapore are the champions of this ICC T20 World Cup qualifiers Asia final. They'll be going down to Dubai, I believe, in September to play the next round, out of which 6 teams will progress to Australia next year in October for the T20 World Cup. Well done, Team Singapore.
Spectacular win. Very happy for the boys. It's been a lot of hard work by a lot of people, not just in the team but even behind the scenes. And a huge congratulations to all the people involved in the association, in the coaching staff, the support staff, all the administrators of the game. Spectacular effort. Congratulations to Singapore.
Folks, stay tuned in, because we will also bring you some interviews with the players. We'll try and do that for you. And we will also have the presentations coming up too. This has been an exciting win for Singapore. We will definitely try our best to talk to a couple of the players. At the same time, folks, I would also like to thank my fellow commentators, Zubin, as well as Sharon. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring this game to you guys out there on your screens. Hope you enjoyed the coverage, Zubin.
Thank you very much. Sheer joy being here, and congratulations once again. Commiserations to Nepal, but a huge margin of defeat there. Very well played by Singapore.
In, folks.